at the level you feel all the praise, that's going to be the same level you feel all the hate. So, like, I feel like I just try to stay right in the middle.
Every time Caitlyn gets fouled, we can't make it seem like she was assaulted.
You are a great player. It doesn't make you a great coach.
It's important for me that I speak up for people that look like me because I'm a racist.
Super strong, angry lesbian culture is going to destroy Caitlyn Clark.
Just when you thought the drama in women's basketball couldn't get any wilder, we've got legends like Sheryl Swoopes and Val Whiting stirring the pot, and Caitlyn Clark once again at the center of it all. Is it pure jealousy or a fair critique? From accusations of stat padding to being snubbed by some of the greatest in the game, Caitlyn Clark is facing heat that few athletes have ever endured. But is it justified, or is there something bigger at play? Let's dive into this heated debate, the shocking comments, and what it all means for the future of women's basketball.
For me, if Rookie of the Year was picked today, I give it to Angel.
Sheryl Swoopes, she's a dumb job.
Before we get started, I'd really appreciate it if you could take a moment to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with the latest content. I'm really troubled by the complex situation we're facing, where some individuals are displaying racist behavior and disrespect towards Caitlyn Clark. It's particularly disappointing given Sheryl Swoopes' absence from today's broadcast.
They had to pull her off a game because she can't be trusted to call Caitlyn Clark games correctly or fairly. They basically pulled her off the game for racism.
Every single person on social media that held it down for me, that was like, oh no, we're not doing this. I got mad love and respect for all of them for showing up and showing out and making sure that I was good because people were checking on me. And I'm very appreciative of that.
I want to thank everybody that was looking out for me and showing up and showing out to make sure I was okay and I was good. She made herself the victim.
Sheryl Swoopes has been removed from covering the Dallas Wings versus Indiana Fever game. While Swoopes' list of achievements is impressive, last week she found herself in a heated argument with Stephen A. Smith, who criticized her for not mentioning Caitlyn Clark when talking about the Fever.
Now, she made news last week when she sat up there and was applauding Indiana Fever players, but then forgot to mention Caitlyn Clark. She jumped all in my ass because I sat up there and said, hey, how you going to ignore Caitlyn Clark?
It was absolutely absurd, remarked the commentator. She went through every single player on the roster, but failed to mention Clark. This incident comes right after another controversial moment involving Diamond DeShields, which Swoopes has chosen to defend.
Your personal relationship, what that got to do with your coverage? Ain't nobody said don't mention them. Ain't nobody said don't applaud them. Nobody told you to ignore them. What we're saying is if you're going to give the Indiana Fever all the credit in the world, how you going to mention the Indiana Fever without Caitlyn Clark's name?
You're too much of a bigot to call Caitlyn Clark games. We're pulling you off the game.
DeShields and Caitlyn Clark were caught up in a controversial moment during the Chicago Sky game. It's tough to decide which situation was worse, Kennedy Carter's or Diamond DeShields, but here we are. Keep your head up, Caitlyn. Despite the negativity, you have strong support, and no amount of hate can change that. Swoopes defended DeShields after the tough foul, but DeShields is still facing a lot of criticism, and it's understandable given the circumstances.
Diamond DeShields received racist threats after Caitlyn Clark flagrant foul.
She's going to face a level of racism from black players.
I think it is pure, unadulterated jealousy.
Those women that are petty and jealous and have some animus towards Caitlyn Clark, that's old school sport. We got a good guy and a bad guy. We got real competition.
In a video I created earlier, I highlighted the fact that a significant 80% of the flagrant fouls committed by the Chicago Sky basketball team seem to be targeted against Caitlyn Clark.
You know what Caitlyn Clark said when she got fouled this hard?
What's going through my mind is I need to make these 2 free throws. That's all I'm thinking about. It's just a part of basketball. It is what it is. You know, trying to make a play on the ball and get the block. But yeah, I mean, it happens. And those those free throws when you have to shoot them with nobody at the line are kind of hard. So it's a little different than having people at the line. So I was just trying to focus on making those.
We like winners who take responsibility and they don't act like victims. There's something in the marketplace.
Swoopes has expressed some concerns that have resulted in adjustments to the broadcast team.
For people to come at me and say that I made those comments because I'm a racist, like, first of all, black people can't be racist, but like, that's the farthest thing from my mind. I'm a black woman, you know? So it's important for me that I speak up for people that look like me.
It seems that WNBA legend Sheryl Swoopes has been vocal in her criticism of the 22-year-old point guard throughout the season. This has caused some controversy, especially after she appeared to support DeShields for a particularly aggressive foul on Clark, which upset fans on social media. As a result of her negative stance towards Clark, Swoopes has been removed from her scheduled role as an analyst for the Dallas Wings Indiana Fever game broadcast.
Every time Caitlyn gets fouled, we can't make it seem like she was assaulted. Why like a Stephen A. Smith? It was that important to you to run the Kennedy Carter hip check, right? That was everywhere. But yet, you didn't even discuss what Alyssa Thomas did to Angel Reese.
It's quite interesting to note that the Wings' official website has now unveiled Ron Thulin and the legendary Nancy Lieberman, a Naismith Hall of Famer, as the play-by-play and color commentators. It's surprising because I had a theory that Nancy would be on the sidelines, but clearly I was mistaken. What's even more intriguing is that Swoopes seemed to confirm this when she responded to a comment speculating on her upcoming announcement. The anticipation was high, and Swoopes' reply, "Not today, Satan," added to the drama.
Who gives a shit about WNBA drama? We barely gave a damn about the WNBA before Caitlyn Clark.
You know when's the last time I watched a WNBA game? Never.
It's a shame that the opportunity to witness this unfold was missed, as it would have undoubtedly been riveting television. Sheryl Swoopes is relentlessly targeting Caitlyn Clark, and it's becoming tiresome.
If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it. If Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlyn should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. Yeah, that'll go in the record books as Caitlyn Clark is the all-time, whatever it is. I don't even know what the number is, but that's the way it'll be. And I don't think it should be. I set the record in 5 games, right?
Yeah.
Because back then, we had a first-round bye. So we didn't get to play, I didn't get that 6 games. So I set the record in 5 games.
Took our extra game.
Well, I'm just saying.
You can say that.
No, listen. If I have 6 games,
The record's different.
well, I'm gonna have another 30. But I don't really care what the record is, who has the record.
The other day, she made some really hurtful remarks about her, and now individuals are unearthing unsettling information about Swoopes. It appears that there was a significant scandal involving her team in 2008.
She's under investigation, accused of mistreating players. I mean, the college coach is not only under fire, but under investigation after reports that the majority of her roster has decided to leave.
It was the environment she had created. I was belittled, humiliated, made to feel extremely small.
Several players have come forward and accused her of being a terrible coach. Out of the 12 players, 10 have spoken out, claiming that she is bad news. This has sparked speculation within the community that Swoopes might be projecting her own issues onto Clark. It's a situation where personal frustrations could be leading to unfair treatment of others. It seems a bit questionable. Swoopes is really stretching it by claiming Angel Reese should win Rookie of the Year over Caitlyn Clark.
Clark right now probably takes about 40 shots a game.
Angel Reese is a wonderful player, but she does not compare to what and who Caitlyn Clark is.
She argues that Clark was drafted to a better team, but the Indiana Fever had a rough season. That argument doesn't really hold up. After watching the old video about Swoopes, I couldn't help but wonder if there might be underlying racial dynamics at play in her treatment of Clark. Given the current circumstances, it's important to consider the following question. Is her negative attitude towards Clark simply because she is white, similar to the way some WNBA players have shown animosity towards white players in the past. Sheryl Swoopes has caused quite a stir with her recent comments about Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese. Swoopes expressed her belief that the Indiana Fever could still make it to the playoffs even without Clark, but argued that the Chicago Sky wouldn't be able to achieve the same without Reese. These comments have sparked a significant reaction from fans and the basketball community.
Caitlyn Clark is the biggest star in American sports.
Caitlyn Clark could be raising the tide and lifting all boats, and I think Angel Reese needs to take a pill.
There's not one other American athlete that could do what Caitlyn Clark has done for the WNBA or for any league.
I think she should be up for MVP.
Swoopes has been facing criticism and backlash on social media, with many labeling her as a hater. However, there seems to be more to the situation than just a simple disagreement over the Rookie of the Year title. There are some discrepancies in Swoopes' claims about Caitlyn Clark's college stats. She has alleged that Clark took 40 shots per game and only averaged 19 points, which is factually incorrect. It's surprising that Gilbert Arenas has not intervened to correct these inaccuracies. It appears that Swoopes might have ulterior motives in trying to portray Clark in a negative light. Caitlyn Clark's unprecedented 40-shot average per game in college seems unrealistic. It's clear that her team should prioritize getting her more opportunities to score, but the ongoing controversy involving Sheryl Swoopes is becoming increasingly bizarre. As we scrutinize an old video, new inquiries are surfacing. Who is the unidentified woman in the video, and how does she factor into this perplexing situation? The situation is becoming increasingly peculiar.
Sheryl Swoopes is being investigated this morning amid allegations that she mistreated players.
You are a great player, it doesn't make you a great coach.
It's worth mentioning that, if you're curious, Sheryl Swoopes is known for her strong activist views, typical of the WNBA's activist stance. I recently saw a video featuring a young woman. As I was observing the situation, I couldn't help but notice the remarkable resemblance she bore to Caitlyn Clark. It struck me as peculiar, given Sheryl Swoopes' history of making disparaging remarks about Caitlyn Clark. This pattern of behavior is disconcerting and could have broader implications.
Super strong, angry lesbian culture is going to destroy Caitlyn Clark.
I'm unsure about the underlying motivation for this behavior. It seems like there might be some form of gatekeeping going on. Sheryl brought up events from 2008, but the video also made reference to occurrences in 2013 and 2016. Therefore, I'm left wondering if the problem truly revolves around Caitlyn Clark's capabilities, or if there are other factors at play. I'm definitely going to watch the game. I can't believe it, but I'm currently tuned into the Suns and Storm game. I have no idea what's happening in the world. This news is just starting to circulate. Many people haven't noticed that Sheryl Swoopes has been replaced in the broadcast. I heard that the Fever is going to play against the Wings today at 3 p.m. Eastern. Swoopes will be commentating unless you've been completely out of the loop.
Anytime a basketball play happens towards Caitlyn, it's because players are envious, they're targeting her, they're jealous, they're haters, they're racist. I keep going on and on. Kennedy Carter is one of the best guards in the league.
Sheryl Swoopes herself. She recently spoke on her podcast, Queens of the Court, and didn't mention the rookie when speaking of Indiana's rise in the standing. Here's what Sheryl Swoopes had to say. Look at this quote here. I think the Olympic break really helped Indiana. I'm going to shout out to Lexi Hull. I'm a big Lexi Hull fan. Lexi Hull shot the leather off the ball in their game against Seattle. Kelsey Mitchell is just stroking. She's just shooting the basketball. Aaliyah Boston, almost a triple-double. If Indiana continues to play the way they're playing like this, they too are going to move up in the standings.
During a recent broadcast, she remained silent for a full 50 seconds while her co-host was discussing Caitlyn Clark being named Player of the Week. It's difficult to imagine a more petty gesture. She didn't even manage to say a single word. It's truly incredulous. Swoopes, reflecting before bed, said, "I'm not envious. They just can't stand her. It's honestly amusing to me. Caitlyn Clark seems to be occupying a lot of space in her mind. Swoopes' hostility towards Clark is surprising and unclassy. Her actions are really tarnishing her own reputation out of jealousy. It seems like Cheryl needs some time to grow and develop. She's feeling really stressed out. It's kind of unbelievable that others don't realize that their frustration comes from thinking they should be the most important players in this league. They expected it to be all about them. But things didn't turn out that way. Caitlyn Clark has completely changed the story and exceeded all expectations.
Serena told Caitlyn Clark, I freaking love this, that there's no race involved. And Serena is black, okay? So here's what Serena Williams said to Caitlyn Clark. No matter what other people do, if people are negative, then it's because they can't do what you do.
Bingo.
Good for you to say something like that, right? Hopefully she'll continue to do what she's doing. This is a GOAT. African-American women.
I just love that she tries to stay grounded, and she says she doesn't, what did she say? She doesn't have a social, she doesn't look at her social, and I get it. I don't either. And I think it's so important to continue to do what she's doing, and no matter what other people do, then if people are negative, it's because they can't do what you do.
Caitlyn Clark is making headlines with her record-breaking performances, earning well-deserved recognition for her outstanding achievements in revenue generation, high attendance numbers, and impressive ratings. I'm not sure what else to add at the moment. This is just a quick update. I came across the news that the Feververse's Wings broadcast team is making changes. Swoopes is out as an analyst and has been replaced. It's surprising how this situation unfolded. Honestly, it's hard to remember an athlete who's faced more unwarranted criticism recently than Caitlyn Clark. It's disappointing to see such a lack of support. Swoopes' behavior is truly shocking and hard to understand. I noticed that Sheryl Swoopes didn't commentate on Caitlyn Clark's game, which I found unfortunate. It appears that she has found herself in a difficult situation. Will she lose her job because of this? It's unlikely. I've heard that it's common for the crews to be rotated, so there's a possibility that this is just a normal change. However, it does seem quite coincidental that this happened today. It seems like even the WNBA is missing the mark. If they want to attract viewers and generate excitement, they should take a page from TNT's book and embrace drama. They should consider including Sheryl Swoopes in their broadcast to add some intrigue. I was intrigued to see if she would make a controversial statement about Caitlyn Clark, or if she would remain silent. I understand the broadcasters not wanting to take any risks, but who knows what Sheryl Swoopes might say. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
No matter what stage you're on, if you're at the highest stage, there's always going to be people that are critiquing you. There's always going to be people that are complimenting you, and I think that just speaks to how I was raised too. I've never been one to weigh the opinions of the haters too much, or I was told, at the level you feel all the praise, that's going to be the same level you feel all the hate. So, I feel like I just try to stay right in the middle.
Sorry, Cheryl, but take a back seat today. What do you think? Elle Duncan once again comes to the defense of Sheryl Swoopes, emphasizing the need for zero tolerance towards racist or death threats in the world of basketball.
That Indiana is in the playoffs right now without Caitlyn Clark. By saying that Katie Lou Samuelson's really more integral in terms of her two-way ability than Caitlyn, and also saying that, and I don't besmirch her for this, because lots of people are making arguments for whether they think that it is Angel Reese or Caitlyn Clark that should be Rookie of the Year. I've said that I think it's Caitlyn, but that I could understand someone making an argument for the other. It's not hate to make an argument for Angel Reese, so I don't take any issue with that part. But the other part, it just feels like there is something there, and I'm not really sure what is not connecting with Cheryl.
You know that. Stop it. More. If you had talked about it more, they would have played more games. I had the power to go up to ESPN and say, directors and producers and cameramen and everybody else flocked to the WNBA at the time when it wasn't nearly as popular as it was today.
This becomes, see, the women of the W are hating on Caitlyn and they hate her. And we've covered that on this show plenty. What I appreciate is that with time and with the benefit of hindsight on our side, I am noticing much more calm in terms of people saying, this is her opinion. This is not the opinion of everyone in the W. I think there have been enough cases of women in the W over the last few months supporting Caitlyn, showing their support. I think there's been enough of that now that people can now take something that's seemingly inflammatory and give it and lay it at the feet of that person, as opposed to making it entire diatribe on everyone in the W and how all of these black women hate Caitlyn.
The statement overlooks Swoopes' previous comments, which included making false claims about Caitlyn's records and portraying her as a bully. This oversight is concerning, as it can diminish the credibility of the overall narrative. I believe that Swoopes has considerable connections and influence, which seems to make the analysts hesitant to challenge her. Her past behavior as a coach, where she has been known to act in a bullying manner, could be contributing to this dynamic. It appears that Swoopes is unnecessarily complicating matters. Furthermore, there is a history of her being dishonest about Caitlyn and minimizing her accomplishments. It is evident to those who follow closely why she might deliberately omit Caitlyn's name when discussing the success of the Fever. In the fast-paced world of women's basketball, where every play has significance, a recent tweet from Val Whiting has sparked a spirited debate regarding the ethics of statistic accumulation during games. Whiting, a former WNBA player turned commentator, posed a thought-provoking question about whether players meticulously track their rebounds during games. This query was a subtle allusion to the possibility that Caitlyn Clark's pursuit of her 10th rebound could be perceived as padding her statistics. Whiting's remark came in the aftermath of a game where Clark's stellar performance had been scrutinized in detail, eliciting responses from fans and analysts alike. In a tweet, Whiting questioned whether basketball players are aware of their rebound statistics during the game and referenced a specific play involving Caitlyn. This seemingly innocent inquiry sparked controversy, leading to many fans coming to Caitlyn's defense. One fan expressed strong disapproval, comparing Whiting's actions to those of former basketball player Sheryl Swoopes and accusing Whiting of unwarranted criticism toward a 22-year-old player. The fan's response conveyed shock and disappointment, indicating a loss of respect for Whiting. A fan raised a question about the fairness of the situation by asking whether a similar question was posed during past instances of double-double hunts at the end of games with Angel. The fan expressed the sentiment that if the question was consistently asked in such situations, then it would be fair. However, the fan highlighted that the specific rebound in question came right to Caitlyn, implying that she should not be faulted for pursuing it. This perspective suggests that players are typically conscious of their individual statistics during games, particularly since these statistics are often prominently displayed. Additionally, it emphasizes that pursuing rebounds is an intrinsic part of the competitive nature of the sport. In a show of support for Clark, one fan pointed out that all the players' stats were displayed on the jumbotron above, suggesting that attempting to improve individual statistics should not be frowned upon, especially in a winning situation. Another fan added a light-hearted touch to the discussion by joking that the opposing player was paid to miss shots, while another fan dismissed Whiting's comments as a troll post. These responses reflect a combination of disbelief and humor regarding the suggestion that Clark's efforts were anything other than competitive. One commenter even humorously remarked, "Great, white girl goes into a league and beats their asses." We've seen accusations, controversies, and some serious drama surrounding Caitlyn Clark. Whether it's about her achievements or the responses from the legends of the game, one thing's for sure: this story isn't over yet. As always, we want to hear from you. Do you think Caitlyn Clark is getting a raw deal, or is there more to this story than meets the eye? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time for more sports drama and insights.